JB, happy Thanksgiving to you, my man.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, sir.
You, come over here, you. Wait a minute. Hey, we go live. The head coach walks by like it's nothing over here.
How we doing?
Coach Cirasullo, happy Thanksgiving. Come on over.
Hey, Coach.
Say hello, JB.
JB, how are you?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Yep, right there.
Pretty quiet over here, but...
See, how's that for you? Well, we've got Coach over here now, and there we go. JB, we're going to leave you out for a second. Coach?
Yeah, you don't need to see my mug.
Welcome to Live in the Huddle. How's this feel for you?
Feels great. Happy to be here. Excited for the kids. We've been wanting to do this for a while, so finally got here. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
And by doing this for a while, he didn't mean be on In the Huddle Live. He meant celebrate Thanksgiving with his team, I believe, JB.
Absolutely.
I mean, you get through Endicott last week, and I think a lot of people were a little surprised. I'm not going to lie to you. You guys weren't, but that vaunted defense of Endicott, you guys were able to bust through somehow. And now you got this Ithaca team coming up. How's that going to go?
Yeah, last week was exciting, obviously, for the kids and everything, and something to build off of. And it was exciting to get the opportunity to play another week. We just kind of living in that mantra right now, one more week. So, and obviously Ithaca's a great team, great opponent, but we're pretty good as well. So, we'll give them everything we got and see where it plays out. But our kids will play hard, they'll play relentless, and looking forward to the trip and looking forward to spending today with the kids as well.
A Legacy Empire 8 matchup back when. JB, we haven't even gotten through our cold open here. You got a question for Coach before we open this thing up?
Well, I mean, for me, Coach, watching the game last weekend, I know everyone always talks about your offense all the time, the triple option, the 400 yards rushing every game. But it really felt to me in the win over Endicott, your defensive line was really the unit that kind of dictated the pace of the game. Tell us a little bit about that defense. It's probably a little underrated. It doesn't get as much press as your triple option offense, but it really did seem to show up big time for you guys in that win.
Oh yeah, they've been showing up big time all year long. I mean, Coach DiRienzo does a great job with the entire staff over there. Coach Lamarca, Coach Pavlicek, Coach Neer, Coach Moore, and Coach Woodring. They all do a tremendous job coaching the kids up and getting them ready to play each week. And all year long, our defense has played really well. And we're going to need that again this weekend. And that's the expectation this weekend. Is Ithaca's offense obviously is tremendous, and they're well coached as well. So hoping for another great matchup.
How do you stop AJ Wingfield? I mean, that's a question a lot of people have asked. I believe he's a Gagliardi semifinalist now for good reason. I've watched him for 2 years up close and personal. He's a magician out there. Do you stop him, or do you only hope to contain him, as they used to say? Yeah,
no, he's a tremendous player. They have a lot of good players offensively and defensively and core-wise as well, obviously, with what they did this past year. They're having a special season, too. So, we're not as concerned about what Ithaca's doing as much as what Springfield College is doing, and the preparation that we've put in each week and put in this week as well. So got another day to practice today and continue to work on some things that will help us be successful in the game.
Coach, I'm going to let you enjoy breakfast,
right.
But as we step aside for a second here, let's see how the players are doing. Guys, how are we doing today? It's season 15 of In the Huddle. First off, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there in Streamland here. We are early. I am not a morning person. I haven't had my coffee yet, but we'll wait for that for a little while. And it is great to be here. Great to be with I've got multiple families I'm going to be with today. this family, my village family, my real family, the Audinos later on, as you know, formerly of Union College. So, JB, I know you've got a lot.
You're part of our family too, Frank. We you married Jen and I a while back, and you're our one of our little brothers, I guess we could say. So you're definitely part of this family. It's great to be here on Thanksgiving. It's funny, I saw that our friend Todd Crawford said, nothing like having a couple of turkeys before the real turkey later. Well, that's what you get. I mean, I've been called everything from a dollar store Colin Cowherd the past week. It's been a lot of fun. But hey, it's great to be here on Thanksgiving morning. We have got a couple days away from the next round. 8 great games between 16 of the best programs in D3. Let's go.
Dollar store Colin Cowherd. Oh, Utica, how I love thee after this last week you put us through.
Indeed.
We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. We will also have Joel Valadez from Linfield University hopefully joining us. Technology was a little dicey, but we got through. We punched through the firewall, just like most people run through a wall for Coach Cerezulo. We punched through ours here to get live here on our show. JB, part of this show is to talk about where we came from, basically, to get here in the first place. You know what that means, but first, your 30,000-foot view of round 1 leading into round 2. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, not that we're experts or anything, Frank, but we both collectively went 10-6, so that meant that we missed on a bunch of games where we thought we knew who was going to win, and that didn't happen. So I think you can safely say that the first round had a lot of upsets, if you want to call them that, or the fact that the WIAC, whatever you want to call it, is gone. The best conference in Division III has 0 participants in the round of 16. Says a lot about this season. I mean, it's kind of been a crazy year. We've had these big games, these topsy-turvy results, and here we are with some interesting matchups that could lead to. Well, I think on one side of the bracket we think we know who's going to be punching their ticket to Annapolis, but what do we know? We might be wrong again. So we'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. But I have a feeling when we get around to our picks, I might be picking some underdogs here just to roll with it, because that seems who's winning in these games lately.
Before anything else, I want to thank Brian McGoffin, our sports information director here at Springfield College, for helping us get this show together. I don't want to leave that out later as we close the show. Usually we're rushing to end the show
Brian.
For whatever reason. Brian, thank you very much. But right now, it is time for crunch time for Week 12. That means round 1 of the playoffs of the 2022 Division III college football season. We start in the upper left-hand bracket where Northwestern Minnesota face St. John's University. And in the first quarter, 4 minutes into it, Nick Van Erp gets a 41-yard touchdown pass from Aaron Severson to make it 7-0 St. John's. Second quarter, at the end of it, basically 46 seconds left, Jimmy Buck with this 11-yard pass from Severson makes it 35-0. It was all St. John's, 49-0 over Northwestern. UW La Crosse visited Wartburg, and we'll go to the third quarter. 1 minute into it, Wartburg's Hunter Clausen gets his 57-yard touchdown run. That makes the score 14-6, and we stay there all the way through the fourth quarter. And look at this 4th and 10 play as Kate Garcia looks for Jack Studer, just can't get it to him, and that would pretty much do it for La Crosse. Wartburg wins the game 14-6. Mount St. Joseph visited Alma, and in the third quarter, halfway through it, Cole Thomas gets his 74-yard touchdown pass from Carter St. John. That made it 28-21 Alma, and then they pour it on halfway through the fourth quarter. Eddie Williams with a 21-yard touchdown pass from Carter St. John makes it 34-21. Final score 41-21, Alma wins. Finally, in the upper left, Aurora visited UW Whitewater. We'll go to the fourth quarter, 5 minutes left. Aurora's Cameron Moore, who had a day, gets a 25-yard touchdown pass from Josh Swanson, make it 33-21 Aurora. But Tyler Holte, a minute and a half later, gets this 28-yard pass, a miracle from Evan Lewandowski as he fumbled that snap, picked it up, and got it to him at 33-28. Aurora still leading. And here is the crux of the game as Evan Lewandowski is intercepted by Kason Burris. That would do it. 33-28, Aurora upsets Whitewater. In the lower left-hand bracket was Salisbury visiting Mount Union, and it was the Wayne Ruby Jr. show. As 11 minutes into the game, he gets his 18-yard touchdown pass from Braxton Plunk to make it 7-0. Then 3 minutes into the second quarter, Wayne Ruby again, 24 yards from Braxton Plunk, makes it 14-0. Those were 2 of his 4 touchdowns on the day, en route to a 51-0 win for Mount Union. Utica visited Susquehanna, and we'll go to the third quarter, 10 minutes into it, as Nate Palmer gets his 5-yard touchdown pass from Braden Zenilovic to make it 10-3 Utica. Then the first play of the fourth quarter, Izzy Maldonado gets a 13-yard touchdown pass from Zenilovic to make it 17-3 in favor of Utica. Susquehanna would make a game of it, making it 17-10, but here's Michael Roosh getting intercepted for the 5th time in the game. Jamal Smith getting his 3rd interception, and that would do it as Utica would upset Susquehanna 17-10. Cortland visited Randolph-Macon, and in the second quarter, 1 minute left, Joey Hunt gets a 25-yard touchdown pass from Drew Campanelli before he gets injured in this game. That tied the game at 21 apiece. We'll go to the first play of the fourth quarter. Andrew Isle gets a 1-yard touchdown run. It's 35-28 Randolph-Macon. And here's Zach Boyes getting intercepted at the midfield stripe by Alex Biddle, and that would do it. Randolph-Macon holds on 35-28. Gallaudet visited Delaware Valley, and it was pretty much all Del Val. Here, 2 minutes left first quarter, Tamir Barksdale gets a 5-yard touchdown run, and then later on in the second quarter, 4 minutes into it, Jay White gets this 9-yard touchdown run. Del Val all the way, 59-0. In the upper right-hand bracket, Lake Forest visited North Central. 12 minutes into the game, D'Angelo Hardy gets this beautiful 33-yard touchdown pass from Luke Lanin to make it 14-0 North Central. Then in the second quarter, 4 minutes into it, Ethan Greenfield with a 27-yard touchdown run, 21-0 North Central. They'd finish the game 50-0 in favor of the Cardinals. DePauw visited Carnegie Mellon, and they would cash in early with DePauw with a short field as Ballantyne gets a 15-yard touchdown pass from Wally Rennie here to make it 7-0 in favor of DePauw early. But in the second quarter, it was all Carnegie Mellon. Ethan Reefer gets this 14-yard touchdown pass from Ben Mills to make it 21-7 2 minutes into the second quarter. Then 14 minutes into the second quarter, Ethan Reefer gets another 14-yard touchdown pass from Ben Mills. That's 28-7 Carnegie Mellon. They would roll. The Tartans win 45-14. In a battle of Massachusetts, Springfield visited Endicott, and in the third quarter, 2 minutes into it, Shane Aylward gets a 53-yard touchdown pass from Clayton Marengi to make it 7 apiece in this game. But then Springfield takes over. Midway through the third quarter, Blaine Hart with a 7-yard touchdown run makes it 14-7 Pride. Midway through the fourth quarter, Christian Huttra gets a 33-yard field goal. It's 17-7 Springfield. Endicott would get a touchdown late, but it would still be Springfield winning 17-14. Mass Dartmouth visited Ithaca, and you'll see in these highlights that is pretty much fumble and touchdown Jake Williams, first from 11 yards out. Fumble, then Jake Williams with a 1-yard touchdown run, and then another fumble by UMass Dartmouth, and Jake Williams with another touchdown run. 7 minutes into the game is 21-0 Ithaca. Final score 63-20 in favor of Ithaca. Finally, in the lower right-hand bracket, Hardin-Simmons visited Trinity, and here is a huge play. 2 minutes left in the game. Ryan Muirfield with a 38-yard touchdown pass from Tucker Horn to make it 14-7 Trinity. Hardin-Simmons would have a chance to tie or win the game, and this is it with 1 second left. Galen Glynn intercepted by Casey Hampton, and that would do it. Trinity wins a heart-stopping game 14-7. Huntington visited Mary Hardin-Baylor, and midway through the first quarter was Afonso Thomas with this 20-yard touchdown run to make it 7-0 in favor of Mary Hardin-Baylor. Then 2 minutes left first quarter, Brandon Jordan, 9-yard touchdown pass from Kyle King. It makes it 14-0 in favor of the Crew. Then in second quarter, 5 minutes into it, KJ Miller gets his 20-yard pass from Kyle King to make it 21-0. The final was 54-0 Mary Hardin-Baylor over Huntington. In a battle of Pool C, teams Bethel visited Wheaton, and we'll go to the fourth quarter, 3 minutes left in it. Wheaton was trailing by 8 points, but here's Will Bowers with a 2-yard touchdown run to make it 34-32. Bethel leading. Bowers tries a pass on a 2-point conversion. It's too low, incomplete, so still 34-32 Bethel. Wheaton tries to get the ball back. Jaron Rossi says no. He completes this pass to Micah Newald, and that pretty much would do it for the game. Bethel wins 34-32. Finally, Pomona Pitzer visited Linfield, and with 2 minutes left in the second quarter, here's Joe Valadez getting his second touchdown of the game, a 15-yard pass from Blake Eaton to make it 20-14 in favor of Linfield. But Pomona Pitzer would not go away. 4 minutes into the third quarter, Will Radis gets a 9-yard touchdown pass from Skylar Noble. It's 21-20 Pomona Pitzer. Finally, Linfield takes control midway through the third quarter. Connor McNabb gets his 12-yard touchdown run to make it 27-21 Linfield. The final, Linfield wins 51-24. That's Crunchtime Express for Week 12 of the 2022 Division III college football season. And scores will be rolling on some of the screens below, just in case you need to catch up. We'll also have the ECAC and all the other bowl scores as well. So just look for that down there. Our guest is ready coming up at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. We'll have him on, Joel Valadez, who you just saw score that touchdown for Linfield. But JB, let's talk about a little bit more specifics of those first round games. And you put together these slides to give some superlatives and acclamations toward the players that had big days. So as people look at these, kind of review the games, what you saw in each of these brackets.
Well, I mean, the top seed, St. John's, had little trouble with Northwestern. They blank them 49-0, but the big game, which a lot of people had circled when the brackets came out, was this Wartburg lacrosse matchup, and it's interesting to see, how Wartburg kept a team like the Eagles down to only 6 points. That says a lot. The defense from Wartburg gave Garcia some struggles. He only passed for 135 yards, 1 touchdown, but 2 interceptions. That's going to be a big deal when they face off against St. John's this weekend to see, can this Wartburg defense, stymie Syverson as much as they did Garcia. On the other side of the bracket, you had Alma winning pretty comfortably in their kilts, 41-21 over Mount St. Joseph's. There was a lot on D3Football.com. I think one of our good friends, Joe Lester, Frank is that's the writer's name. I'm
Brian
blanking.
Lester.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, sorry, man. Need more coffee. He wrote a great article on them and other teams this past week, and then Aurora with the upset of the weekend, really, the 33-28 win over Whitewater on the road. Cameron Moore doing a Randy Moss impersonation with almost 200 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. Just an incredible game by the Don BBs, as they like to call them, and they were sort of the big surprise of round 1.
One thing I want to bring up right now real quick as you bring that up, JB, is the fact that we had a retirement basically that was related to that game.
Yeah.
Kevin Bullis from UW Whitewater did retire after the loss, and it was a surprise to some, not to everybody. I understand that he may have started moving toward California where his daughter plays volleyball at college, and so it sounds like this was maybe in the plans for a while. It was not necessarily based on this one playoff game or bad ending of a season type scenario. I know Whitewater fans have high expectations, but at the same time, look, I think that Kevin Bullis would have stayed there as long as he wanted to, pretty much. One person I spoke to yesterday was Kansas head coach, of all people, and former UW head coach Lance Leipold, and talked about Kevin Bullis' retirement, and here's what he had to say about it. Anyone who knows Kevin Bullis knows he's an outstanding father, husband, coach, and friend. His contributions to Warhawk football go way beyond just championships. His development of young men, improving facilities at UW are just a couple of examples. It was a pleasure to coach with Kevin and an honor to call him a friend. Again, Coach Lance Leipold, now of Kansas. Great words from him. They worked together for a little while, obviously. Lance sort of jokes about the fact I took a lot of the staff with me, so he had to kind of build from the ground up to a certain degree when he went to Buffalo, Leipold did. And Kevin Bullaso did get a Stag Bowl visit. North Central sort of blew the doors off them in that game. But then, you know the rest of the story. Good luck to Coach Bullis in retirement for sure. A lot of talk. Maybe Don Beebe is the guy that people will want over UW. He's created a system at Aurora for sure where a quarterback can succeed no matter what their name is in a way in that system that we didn't anticipate. We watched it happen before our eyes on Saturday in that Whitewater game. Let's go to the second set of brackets, the lower left. And Mount Union, Wayne Ruby Jr., he's feeling just fine after that pylon that occurred during the celebration of the Baldwin Wallace game, 51-0 there. Braxton Plunk, 353 yards. Utica, I'll tell you, look, they earned it. And, looking back at the score predictions, I had the game the closest out of everybody, but still I did not pick Utica to win.
Okay.
But, Susquehanna just played a very, very stiff game, I would call it, as we watched it play out in front of us.
Yeah.
And 5 interceptions never helps you. But giving up 5 interceptions and still losing by 7 is another feat in and of itself. But you want to come on the winning side of situations like that. More about Utica in a little bit. Randolph-Macon, 35, Cortland, 28. We're not sure about the status of Drew Campanelli in this whole situation. It sounded like he took a pretty good ding, came back, but may not have finished the game, from what I understand. Talked to Coach Fitzpatrick about that last week, and he took his hat off, he took his hat off to Randolph-Macon after that game. Del Val, 59-0. Louis Barrios, 173 total yards. Didn't have to play for very long in that game. Take us through bracket number 3 in the, I believe, the upper right-hand side.
Yeah, so the big favorites, North Central, 50-0. You saw in Crunchtime Express, Luke Lennon was clicking through 3 passing touchdowns. I think he scored a couple on the ground. Greenfield did as well. DePaul Carnegie Mellon, though, was a really surprising game for many of us because while I think we both picked the Tartans to win. We expect this to be a close game. It was not. 45-14. The Tartans really, their offense seems to be rolling right at the perfect time because they're going to need all those points against North Central coming up on Saturday. The Battle of Massachusetts went to Springfield. Their rushing attack and really, like I said to Coach Sarasulo at the top of the show, their defensive line came through to keep Endicott's high-powered offense in check, and they win 17-14. Mass Dartmouth, I mean, I've seen this happen a lot to teams that play Mount Union for the first time, and hopefully this won't happen to Utica on Saturday. They just kind of turn the ball over 2 or 3 times. They find themselves down 21-0 before the first quarter is even really getting going here. And it was all Ithaca pretty much, and that's a home field advantage they have at Butterfield. Wingfield came out pretty early. That's why I think we have Max Perry on the stat sheet here because he really played most of the game, given all the struggles that the Corsairs had. They'll learn from that experience and be better the next time they punch their ticket to the tournament. But yeah, a dominating win by Ithaca really feels like they're on their way to Chicago.
And I'll take you through the lower right. I'll take you through this one, my friend, as Trinity. It was a touch-and-go game for sure, and finally in the fourth quarter, Trinity gets ahead of Hardin-Simmons 14-7 and holds on with that last-second interception, literally last-second interception, 1 second on the clock to start the play. Tucker Horn with 157 yards. Not a quality performance in terms of yardage, but hey, he came up with what he needed to come up with again at the end of the game. Mary Hardin-Baylor just rolled over Huntingdon. I did not expect them to roll that much, 54-0. Kyle King, 364 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. Bethel with that 2-point win over Wheaton. It reminded me of the Johns Hopkins game against Susquehanna, chasing an extra point situation throughout the game and then paying the price for it in the end, losing by 2, and couldn't convert the 2-point conversion to make it happen. And Linfield with that big 51-24 victory against Pomona Pitzer, but it was much closer than that during that game. That's for sure, JD.
Oh, yeah.
And as we begin to position ourselves here, let's talk a little bit between you and me about this Bethel-Linfield game. A lot of people are talking, hey, why don't you give respect to Linfield? And a lot of people on the other side of the fence are like, well, who have you played, I guess is the question. But here's their chance to prove a lot to the country in terms of Linfield Wildcats being somebody to talk about through this postseason. What's your thought initially on that game?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see, what Linfield team shows up, because we've seen them struggle on the road at Huntington in the early part of the season when it was really hot and humid, which it pretty much always is in Alabama in September. But now they're the home team, and Bethel is flying out to them. That home court advantage could prove useful. I think the fact that they've played in some close games after blowing out most of the teams in their conference will help them, but this is a game that I think a lot of people are going to say that Bethel is the favorite, even though Linfield's more highly ranked and they're the home team, the higher seed. But the Royals are a legitimate threat, and they could definitely win this game with a quarterback like Rosty and some of the other talent that they have on that roster. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Can't hear you, Frank.
Sorry.
I think we got you on
exactly.
mute.
Brian McGoffrey's offering me some breakfast, and we're going to hurry through this interview now, Joel. Is that okay? Because I got to eat. No, just kidding, buddy. Joel Valadez joining us from Linfield University. He is listed as a junior/sophomore. I like what they're doing over there because they're basically saying what year you are academically and what year you are in terms of eligibility, which really does solve the mystery for us when we have to ask the question every time this last couple of years. Hey, do you have a year of eligibility left? Do you have a couple? And so we'll talk about that a little bit later. Joel, you were the player of the game according to the broadcast, according to us as well the other day. Congratulations on the big win versus Pomona Pitzer. How's it feel to be going to round 2 with your team?
Oh, first off, I just want to say thanks for having me on. I appreciate all the coverage you guys do for D3 football. I hope you guys can hear me. But no, it feels good. We know that we have a big team in Bethel coming up. They're a great team, and feels good to get that win over Pomona. They were a great team. They came out strong. I mean, we knew that they're in the playoffs for a reason. They're going to come down. This is their first time ever making the playoffs, so they're going to come out strong. They came out swinging. They had a pretty big fan base come down from Southern California, so I mean, I think they were excited to get in the playoffs. They came out strong, but I'm happy to get out the dub and move on to Bethel.
Joel, it's always been interesting to me. Linfield is a team that's won a national title, one of the very few in Division III that have in the last 20 years. You guys are always ranked very high in the top 25 year after year. And yet, for some reason, it always feels like you guys are sort of also the underdogs because you play on the West Coast and pretty far away from the rest of Division III. Are you guys bringing sort of that underdog mentality into this game again? I mean, Bethel is from the MIAC. They're highly regarded in that respect, but you guys are the higher seed, the home team. What are your thoughts going into this big game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's not talked about too much, but I think we all know it's there. Kind of, I mean, who doesn't like to play with as an underdog, I think it's kind of nice. Our coach talks about it sometimes, and our leaders talk about it a lot too. Like, we got to come with a chip on our shoulder, and I personally like playing as an underdog. Got to come in and have something to prove. So with Bethel coming in, this is a chance that we can prove ourselves to the rest of the country and really get a nice dub and open up people's eyes to us.
The Huntington game at the beginning of the season taught you guys a lot, I think, about fighting through adversity. Tell us more about what you guys did learn from that Huntington game. I mean, that's a long travel game, no doubt. The humidity down in Alabama was obviously pretty heavy and high. But again, if you lost the game, it would have been held against you ultimately in the whole bracketing scenario. Tell us about what you learned in that Huntington game early in the season.
Yeah, I know. Huntington was a great team. We knew that they were a top 25 team coming into the game, and I think it really showed a lot for us because last year, we had a great season. We went undefeated and lost to Mary Hardin in the quarters, who, I mean, I haven't been playing D3 for that long, but they were a powerhouse last year. They were a really good team, and so coming in this year, we kind of had a few key players that we lost, obviously in Wyatt Smith in the quarterback position. We had some really big leaders in the secondary that we lost. And so I really think that game just proved that we are going to be able to have key players in those positions step up, and Blakey in at quarterback, and some younger guys in the secondary too who struggled that game but have gotten a lot better throughout the year. And Blake, I think that game just really proved we didn't know who was starting like until a week before the game. It was kind of between three guys at quarterback position, which we were grateful to have. They were all really good. And so week 4, like a week before, Blake got the starting job, and so it was kind of shaky still. And then I just think that game really proved that Blake was the man, and that's who we're going to roll with for the year. And obviously he's gotten a lot better throughout the year. Now it's time to go.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome. So Joel, what was it in that fourth quarter that sort of flipped the script on? I mean, the whole game with Pomona Pitzer was back and forth, maybe a little closer than some people thought, but something. And I've seen this in a few of the Wildcats games this season. You guys get to a point, and then you just explode. You know, what was the real key to that? Basically, I think you scored, like 21 or 24 points in the fourth quarter. What was sort of the catalyst there to get you guys that big win?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just weren't really firing at all cylinders at some point, and we know that we're not going to be able to do that this week against Bethel. They're, no hate on Pomona. They're a really good team, but Bethel is definitely, I think, a lot better. And I don't really know the answer to that question. I think when you see a shoot off like that, I think it's just we were firing at all three cylinders in special teams, defense, offense at the same time, and it's just kind of the time that it happened to go.
Momentum is a big deal
Perfect
in football.
timing.
Yeah, exactly. And, you guys just started rolling. I took my eyes off the game, and you went from that 50-yard field goal to up by 20-plus in about no time flat. So it was one hell of a effort by your team from all three facets of the game pretty much at that point in time. So congratulations. But obviously things get tougher now. One thing I will give you credit for, you are the earliest riser in the history of In the Huddle, because 5:30 a.m. is the time
Absolutely.
to start. You were up and ready to go at 5:10 a.m. You were on our screen. So thanks for doing this in the first place. But, it's going to take a lot to beat this Bethel team, no doubt. If you get through them, I mean, is it house money, or is this Linfield team really feeling like, no, we're not content unless we get to the natty at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think right after we beat Huntington and we started like halfway through the season, our leaders, our coaches really stepped up, and we knew that we had some big goals for this year. And coming in the playoffs, we've really just been thinking about our season, and we really want to win a national championship this year. So we've been coming in every day, working as hard as we can, getting our lifts in, and this year we think we really have a good shot. The top 5 has been all shaky this year. Like, a lot of teams are losing, and so I just think we see this opportunity to win a national championship this year, and we're coming in swinging. And really, this week is our biggest test, like you guys have said. So this is our chance to prove it.
Well, Joel, you got a little mention in our live chat here from a Mary Hardin Baylor fan. They hope to get to play you next. They have a lot of respect for you and your program, so that's what they're rooting for, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And we certainly wish you the best on this journey. Like you said, the Royals are not going to be pushovers, but they'll certainly test you guys. But you have, like you said, when you click on all three phases of the game, this Wildcats team is really tough to beat. Frank, I don't know if you've got anything else, or should we let Joel get to his either morning? Well, actually, I got one last one for you, Joel. You're up the crack of dawn. It's 5:40 in the morning on the West Coast. Are you going to go lift? Is it time to eat turkey in like an hour or so? What's going on up there in McMinnville?
Yeah, so we actually have morning practice today, so a lot of our local players can get home and have Thanksgiving with our family. So I'll probably just stay up because I got practice in a few hours anyway.
Well, I will take it from here then, JB. Thank you for joining us on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you and to your mom, Shauna, who's a big fan of the show, I know. So, Shauna, thanks for watching. But it's your time for shout-outs, any family, friends, teammates, etc. that might be watching. Joel Valadez, it's all yours.
I'm sorry, I didn't really hear you. What'd you say?
Shout-outs are all yours. Go for it. Yep, you got it.
Oh, yep. I just want a big shout out to my mom, like you said. Big fan of the show. Big shout out to my team. And just big shout out to my family, trainers, everyone who helps me get ready for the games. Got a big week this week. Excited for Bethel and hopefully move on. Mary Hardin Baylor Trinity. Thank you guys for having me on.
You got it. Thanks for everything. Happy Thanksgiving, as we said. You represent the westernmost team. I'm sitting with the easternmost team remaining in the bracket here right now. And so that shows you just how big D3 Nation really is. It comes all the way across the country this way. Best of luck this weekend. And thank Kelly Berg for us, your sports information director, for helping get this together as well.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Joe Valadez, JB, from Linfield. It absolutely was.
All the way from Oregon. Wow, that's quite a pull there, Frank. I mean, our show must be going places if we can get the attention of people on the West Coast to get up at 5 a.m. to talk to us goofballs. Man, what a great guy, and I think it actually is starting to change my mind on where I'm going with my pick in that game. I don't know. I thought maybe Bethel was still a call, but I think Joel talked me over to the Wildcat side. I think they're on a roll here.
It's time to take a look at the games in round 2 and start running through. And we're going to add an interview in just a little bit with a Springfield player as we are here at Springfield College on this Thanksgiving Day 2022. Go for it, my friend.
All right, so on the left side of the bracket, you have the big Wartburg-St. John's game to sort of get things kicked off, as well as Aurora versus Alma, which I don't know if a lot of people had that one circled on their bracket as a possibility, but here we are, and this Aurora team could be on its way to a quarterfinal situation. We'll see. Utica versus Mount Union is going to be an interesting matchup. I don't think the Raiders are the same level of powerhouse as they were from decades ago, so I imagine the Pioneers feel they have as good a chance as any. Randolph-Macon versus Del Val should also be an interesting one. The Aggies' defense is real tough. Is Drew Campanelli healthy enough to start this game? That's a big question mark there for the Yellow Jackets. On the right side of the bracket, you have the rematch of the game that never happened last season because of COVID issues. Carnegie Mellon is going to North Central. It's basically a tale of great offense from the Cardinal side versus a great defense from the Tartans. It should be an interesting matchup. Springfield versus Ithaca, kind of the same situation. You have definitely a favorite in Ithaca, but Springfield's ability to hang on to the ball, run the clock, play good defense could keep them in this game and make things interesting. This one will certainly be a key game to watch. Mary Hardin Baylor versus Trinity, another rematch from last year's playoffs that saw the Crew barely squeak by the Tigers. The script is flipped this year with Trinity being the host and the higher seed, but I still think a lot of people will view the Crusaders as the favorite just based on the play. I mean, they get in the playoffs and all of a sudden 50-something points later, Kyle King is locked in. He's a Gallardi semifinalist playing in his final year. Big matchup there. And then Bethel versus Linfield, like we just discussed with Joel Valadez out there in Oregon, and it should be a great game. And looks like we've got another great player to talk to here. Hey, what's going on, man?
Nick Ranieri joining us, fullback from Springfield here. And Nick, the fullbacks are really the crux of the offense, as everybody knows, although the quarterback might have a lot to say about that, and the offensive line as well. But obviously, let's take it through first the Endicott game last week. You guys are busting through. It seemed like you were wearing down the defense, especially late in that game. That's how you guys end up with a 10-point lead. And, they take a long time to even respond toward the end of that game. Tell me about that defense and how you guys got them to wear down the way you did.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the whole focal point of our offense is to kind of just pound the ball all game to a point where we get our opponent to quit. And that's what the beauty of it is. And our two main priorities of our offense are take care of the football and establish the fullback game. So when we do both of those things, we usually end up pretty successful.
Well, I'm a broken record, and I still think that your defensive line, gets a lot of credit for that win on Saturday. You've been practicing against these guys, crashing into them all season. Tell us a little about this, Springfield defense. I mean, obviously everyone knows about the triple option offense at Springfield. It's been, it's decades long sort of a thing up there in Western Massachusetts. But do you feel like your defense is a little underrated and they got some of their due last weekend?
Absolutely. I think our defense is unbelievable, and they come up huge in so many situations and give us just tremendous opportunities on the field. And I think, you can't play a football game with just one side of the football, and we're rolling on all cylinders right now, and I think our defense has a huge part to do with that.
Nick, being here with the guys on Thanksgiving is something that hasn't happened in 16 years, Brian. 2006 was the last time it happened. How's this feel? I mean, this has been a goal probably since you got here and for the entire team. How does it feel to be here on Thanksgiving? Obviously, minus family of one sort, but with family of the other sort now.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I think when we start our season, we make it a goal of ours to get to Thanksgiving. And like you said, this is the first time it's been done since 2006, so we're extremely lucky to be here. We're grateful, and we're going to try to make the most of this opportunity. I mean, like you said, it's a little bittersweet because we can't be with our families, but we have a whole nother family right here, and we're very happy to be spending it with this family.
How'd you guys let this mayor from upstate New York into the fold here? I mean, I guess you made the drive, and at least Brian's putting up with you, right, Frank? So, are you gonna guys have breakfast with the mayor today, or what's going on? I mean, it sounds like
they already
Frank's
ate.
like
they already ate all around.
Broadcast over with. Oh, okay. All right. So, Nick, what's the game plan for today? We spoke with a player from Linfield earlier. They have practice in a few hours. Are you guys going to do a morning practice and then do something as a team? Dinner-wise later, or some guys might shoot off if they're local to go see their families?
Yes, sir. We just ate breakfast here. Now we got meetings at 9 o'clock, and then we got a practice at 10 o'clock. And then after that, we're coming right back to the dining hall here and enjoying a nice family Thanksgiving.
Business as usual, basically, to a certain degree, except for that little extra oomph for Thanksgiving. Nick, I'm going to give you a chance because I see you have meetings in 12 minutes, according to the clock here, to give any shout-outs to family, friends, etc. Obviously, with Thanksgiving, it takes on extra meaning. Go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Just shout out to my family, my mom, my brother, my girlfriend. You guys are awesome, and this is why I do it, and you guys got me to this point. And then shout out to everybody watching the Springfield Pride. We can't do it without you guys and all your support. We're going to try to go get it done this weekend for you guys. Thank you.
And girlfriend's first name is?
Ashley.
Ashley, I'm just trying to keep you out of trouble, okay?
That's
so
all
we
right.
like, well, you couldn't mention my name.
Way to go,
Frank. Nick, congratulations on getting to round 2. You've got a big feat to come up with if you guys are going to get through Ithaca, the old Empire 8 rivalry in the old days, playing out in the second round of the playoffs here. And good luck to you because it will not be easy, but you guys are capable of the task.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
No problem. JB, by the way, we didn't go through your MVPs from week 12, which we're going to see right there. Happens to have a Springfield player. Go ahead.
Yeah, it sure does. And, they might need Christian to come up with a few long kicks on Saturday in a close game. I mean, he came through with basically the game-winning field goal from 33 or 4 plus yards out, and got some Numac and other kudos for that. So definitely keep an eye on that element of this game. I mean, obviously Nick Bahamunde is well known in D3 circles as far as being a good kicker. It may come down to these guys, honestly, kicking field goals to get the win. Defensively, Jamel Smith, 3 interceptions. I mean, a big reason why Utica's in the second round is because of him and the turnovers that the defense was able to force in that 17-10 win over Susquehanna. And then, as I said at the top of the show, Cameron Moore was like a Randy Moss out there, number 84, almost 200 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns in pretty much the biggest upset of potentially the year, you could say, with Aurora knocking off the Warhawks. Really great performance. And hey, looks like you're breaking bread finally, Frank. That's good to see.
Brian felt bad for me. He gave me quit the setup over here, actually. So you're going to be talking a lot more for this show. One other thing that we did not do was go over the bowl game results, which is interesting when you look at especially the Centennial MAC Bowls, or the MAC CC Bowls as we have at the bottom of the screen there, however you want to call them. Basically, we had a sweep from the Centennial in those bowls. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, so basically in the ACACs, Hobart just got off to a slow start. Washington and Jefferson capitalized on a lot of turnovers in the second quarter and ran away with a 35-18 win in the Bushnell Bowl. RPI, Morrisville State, we thought that would be a low-scoring defensive game. It was. They won the Whitelaw Bowl 10-6. And then FDU Forum and Grove City, this is, I think, the third or fourth time that the Wolverines have won the Lynham Bowl. So congratulations to them on that three-peat. In the New England Bowls, we had an interesting matchup with a team from D.C. coming up to Massachusetts, but the Bears hang on to win 34-24. Plymouth State edges Husson on the road 21-20 in what was a really close game. In the Neptune Bowl, Apprentice School beats Bridgewater 38-28. We had, as you said, in the Centennial MAC series, Hopkins, Ursinus, and Muhlenberg all win, so gives the Centennial a 3-0 sweep there. And then in the Lakefront and the Isthmus Bowl, we had a rematch from last year's Isthmus Bowl with, once again, the River Falls Falcons hanging on for a 31-24 win there. And then in the first ever Cousins Subs Lakefront Bowl, Monmouth wins pretty decisively 45-20 over Concordia of Wisconsin.
Well done, sir. And we just fixed our scroll bar a little bit there as well, so we got that rolling again. You feeling ready for what's in front of us? The good news is that there are no Springfield players around, so we could pick against them and they would never know the difference at this point. But perhaps that would be a problem. I don't know. But what do you think?
Well, I think once again there are some clear favorites in this next round just based on the national polls. But like we saw last weekend, you never know what's going to happen in these playoff games and the way matchups can go down. I did see that the weather in Ithaca is going to be cold but sunny on Saturday. Of course, they get a little rain on Friday to wet that field down to try to slow the triple option. So the guy with the hose doesn't have to spray the field. They're going to get Mother Nature to take care of that for him. But there's going to be some interesting close calls this weekend. I think there's going to be some upsets. The home teams are not necessarily going to win all these games.
Sorry to chew in your ear, but I think it's time. What do you think?
All right. Are we going to fire up the tunes here?
Of course we are. You think we wouldn't do that?
I can hear it now.
You still lead by too many. There's no way I'm catching you this season, so that much I know. But let's go with this anyway. Let's see. You started last week, so I guess I have to start this week, right? So,
yes, sure.
Wartburg at St. John's, as I'm trying to make sure there's nothing coming in my teeth as I do this. Aaron Severson's definitely found a groove this season. Wartburg struggled to score an offense in the second half. I think St. John's will struggle a little bit against the Wartburg defense, but not enough to lose the game. St. John's wins this game by a final score of 31-20.
Yeah, I'm really struggling with this one. I feel like I should pick St. John's, but I feel like just for the heck of it, and maybe that's the benefit of having this lead, I'm going to go on a flyer and say that Wartburg is going to win this game. If they can keep the Eagles to 6 points, they're going to be able to shut down the Johnny's offense, even though they're the road team. All I've heard about all season is how underrated this Wartburg team is. All right, well, let's see it. If they can beat St. John's on the road, then that would show me something, that maybe they're a Stag Bowl caliber team. have to wait and see. I'll say Wartburg 14-6.
Todd, Ken, I heard you. We started the clock, okay? Got it. So next up, it is Aurora at Alma. Tough one. You start.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another one of those games where the Don Beebes they've got a little too much on offense. Alma's had a Storybrooke season, but I feel like, this something's going on up over there in Western Chicago. So I'll take Aurora to win this game 31-24.
Tough to win 2 weeks in a row on the road, but I think they're going to do it. Aurora wins this game for the same reasons you talk about, by the final score of 35-24. Utica at Mount Union. Listen, Utica, congratulations. Maybe some of this stuff on social media was a little juvenile at times. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? Remember to win with class. Remember to win with a sense of humor to a certain degree. It was a little bit, maybe us against them mentality a little too far, but whatever motivates you at the end of the day is fine. Here's the problem. If you lose by 50 to Mount Union, you're just another team that lost by 50 to Mount Union and are out of the playoffs. If you come close in this game, you get a whole level of respect. If you win this game, I'm going to be basically hunted down and pretty much stoned, I think, by Utica fans at that point. Mount Union wins this game 42-21.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Utica just has to avoid what every other playoff team that plays the Raiders for the first time. Don't turn the ball over 3 times in the first quarter. I mean, that'll kill you. You followed that script to beat Susquehanna. You need to create turnovers. You need to pressure Plunk. You need to get Ruby out of his game. But I still feel the Raiders are, the class of this bracket. So yeah, I think it'll be a closer game, Frank. But I'll take the Purple Raiders to win 35-28.
Randolph-Macon at Del Val.
Louis Barrios has been a game changer for the Aggies, and I think he's going to be the reason why they'll win this game. I mean, obviously, guys like the Nobiles and others on defense will have a big impact, and given that we don't really know the status of Drew Campanelli, I feel like I have to pick the Aggies because they're really that good of a team, and they will likely advance in this low-scoring game 24-10.
I'm feeling like Del Valle actually scores a little bit more than that, and for the reasons you brought up about Louis Barrios IV. I think that he is that level of game changer for them. So I'm going to say that they win the game by the final score of Del Valle does 37-20. Next up,
all right,
Mary Hardin Baylor Trinity. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Who's first? Is this me? Uh-oh.
Me.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay. After you, sir.
So I'm going to this game. Going down to San Antonio tomorrow morning. Going to be there for this. Mary Hardin Baylor fans want me to pick against them. They want me to pick against them. We know this, okay? And so I already picked Trinity to win this bracket, this quadrant of the bracket. So obviously I've got to pick Trinity to win. The defense of Trinity is something special this season, no doubt. They held Hardin Simmons to 7 points on Saturday. Who can do that? Even Mary Hardin Baylor didn't do that. Remember something, they gave up 20 to them. And early, it wasn't like it was garbage time. That was when the game was in doubt. So Trinity keeps this score low, just like last year, but at home with better caliber right now, wins this game 10-7.
Wow. Yeah, I just feel like the playoff crew has entered the chat, as we said on the Bracket Blitz show last weekend. I think Kyle King and company are going to run away with this one. As good as Trinity's defense is, I think when the crew gets in the playoffs, they just step it up a notch. I'll take the Crusaders to win 31-21.
Bethel at Linfield.
Yeah, this was a game that I initially was thinking that the Royals would come away with the win, but I think Joel talked me down, talked me over to the Wildcat side. So I'm going to go with the home team. Maybe it'll be fourth quarter late pull away, but I think it's going to be a close game either way. Let's say 35 to 28. Linfield.
Yeah, I think Linfield with home cooking here has a true advantage. Generosity still is a little bit dinged up. There's no doubt. Okay, and he's played a strong game against Wheaton and put that game away. Credit to him for that. But congratulations on the Ghilardi semifinal nod as well to him. But I'm going to give Linfield the edge here, 31-27. Carnegie Mellon at North Central. By the way, if Carnegie Mellon were able to beat North Central, Carnegie Mellon would host versus no matter who comes out of the other game. More on that later. First, we got to get through this game. Carnegie Mellon is a great defense. This game would have been a blowout a year ago. I don't think it's necessarily a complete blowout this year. North Central, though, has too many weapons on offense and eventually will break through in this game. Pulling away late, North Central wins this game 30-14.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Maybe 35-21 or so. I think Carnegie Mellon's offense is peaking right now, which is good for them. They're going to need those points. But just Greenfield, Lennon and company, too much firepower. Hardy, I mean, it's going to be a challenge. They're the number one seed for a reason, so I'll take the Cardinals. Okay.
Hey, Brian,
you're yapping,
I'm
but
muted.
I don't hear anything. There you go.
I'm muted for a reason. Come on over. Brian McGoffin, our sports information director here at Springfield.
Hey, Brian. What's up, buddy?
Hi to JB.
JB, good to see you, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
Stay in the
Good to
picture
see
with
you
us.
too, bud. Yeah,
So,
happy Thanksgiving
okay.
to you.
We got Springfield Ithaca here.
Yeah.
Look, betting people would say Ithaca gets this game, I think. JB, are you going to go Ithaca also, at least in this respect?
Probably, they're the favorites for a reason. It's going to come down to whether or not the Pride can contain AJ Wingfield. He's really the secret sauce of the Bombers, I think. But with that triple option offense, the way they can hang on to the ball, you never know. But yeah, the Bombers at home are clear favorites in my opinion.
Okay, so you're saying Bombers at home, clear favorites. Look, Brian, if we both pick Ithaca, do you promise to tell the guys we both pick Springfield so that they don't hold it against us or something?
I would love to say as they're in their 9 o'clock meetings right now that they're not watching this show, but I'm sure they're probably also, somebody's got it up on their phone right now, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to spin that one, Frank, as much as I'd like to.
Yeah. At least
I think last week, though, I think you guys both picked Endicott, and it worked out all right for us. So if you guys want to go Ithaca again,
and we were wrong.
That's okay.
Reverse logic
here. Yeah, the
here.
reverse psychology always works.
Ithaca wins this game. Just too much AJ Wingfield at the end of the day. I'm going to say by the final score of 27-17. What do you say?
Yeah, I think probably it'll be a lower scoring game. It's going to be cold. Field conditions could be a little muddy based on the rain for Friday. So yeah, I think it'll be like a 27-21 game. Bombers are going to squeak by though.
I did hear that they were pouring Miracle Grow on the lawn at Butterfield all week long, however, so just know that.
I believe Coach Long was reminiscing of the days that maybe the hose got left on Butterfield overnight.
Who
just
knew?
in case.
Who
just
knew?
in
Yeah.
case that triple option was coming.
RPI used to do it with
Just in
Thomas
case,
Arcidiarcano
just in
in the old days at 86 Field, so why not do that? Okay, what's your thought? You predict this game, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's two teams that haven't played each other in over a decade, but certainly a lot of history. And certainly a great deal of respect between the two programs. I know that Coach DeLong sent a message to the guys just talking about all the memories he had all those years at Butterfield, and Coach Sarasolo getting his career started there as a GA way back when in 1995 at Ithaca, kind of got his the foundations of his coaching career started up there in the city of Gorges. So at the end of the day, my paycheck says Springfield College on it. So we're going to go with the fellows from Alden Street. We'll say we'll go 24-21. I like my guy Hutra late.
Hutra broke what kind of records right now for you?
Yeah, Christian Hutch has certainly had a special senior year for us. All-time leader in field goals for us here at Springfield College, and the single-season record as well.
Wow.
Big one last week for us at Endicott that kind of ended up being the difference maker.
Right there, he's the JV MVP for Special Teams of the Week. And again, we've got to thank you, Brian, for all the hospitality and accommodations here and breakfast now. Sorry, JB, you don't get that. But Springfield Pride is a special team to me from the Liberty League days and everything else, from you being so hospitable in the various roles I've come in as for D3 football, for in the Huddle, for just Union College back in the old days. So we want to thank you for everything as well. Hopefully we get to keep the road going for you in some ways here. I don't mean that against Ithaca, but
great, yeah.
I mean, obviously somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose that game, so we'll see where it goes. But you also have a very good team coming back next year, no matter what happens here, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'd be remiss, right? It's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving morning at 9 o'clock, and you guys have taken the time away from your family and friends to celebrate what makes this Division III so special, and it's our student athletes. And while they're away from their families today, certainly such a core memory for them to be able to be with their teammates, not because a game got scheduled on Thanksgiving weekend, but because they earned the right to play Thanksgiving weekend. So it's a credit to you guys, right, above and beyond, always setting a new standard. I said it feels like we got Greeny and Goldberg at a bar outside of South Bend before a big game, Notre Dame. And this is, for us to have you guys join us in our dining hall in Western Massachusetts on Thanksgiving morning is something certainly I'll never forget, and I'm sure our student athletes weren't either. So thank you guys for everything.
Well, yeah, we got it to work in the end. We almost didn't get JB up there, but we got it to work, gosh darn it. And here's what else we're going to get to work. Me down on the field level at Trinity as Mary Hardin Baylor goes there this Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, noon Central time. So I get to watch a little bit of the games going on beforehand. I'll give you a little pregame report from down there, though, as well. We got some exciting games coming up this weekend, JB. Final thoughts from you, sir.
Yeah, well, I mean, once again, like half the games are going to kick off at noon, then the other half will kick off at 1. Bethel Linfield kicks off at 3, so maybe it's not technically half and half, but it's going to be a lot of action packed into a couple of hours, and so it should be really exciting to see how all this wraps up, and then we'll be down to effectively the Elite Eight, which is pretty exciting.
Folks, we'll see you across Twitter this weekend. We'll go back to our normal Crunchtime episode next week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us live or if you're watching us during Thanksgiving itself, I hope you had some great turkey dinner. If you're watching us Friday, so you're smart. But, at least I'll be traveling, so, at least we got a show on the air for you with both review and preview. We'll see you soon. Good luck to the teams still playing, and happy Thanksgiving to those that are at home. Enjoy your families at the very least. Bye, folks.